It just had to be Eze. Barca finally returned to the Camp Nou. We got PogBACK in the big 2025, and CR7 has done it again, whilst his great rival Messi continues to dominate. This is DMAC Daily. I go on holiday for 2 weeks, one of which was during an international break, and I just happened to miss out on a Troy Parrott all-timer, the smallest ever nation reaching the World Cup alongside Haiti, Panama, Norway, Scotland, amongst others. We witnessed CR7 in the White House, voodoo drama in African qualifiers, and the total embarrassment that was Sky Sports Halo. But in the beautiful game, the narratives shift quickly, and this weekend we got a fresh batch of crazy storylines, starting with the North London derby as Arsenal delivered the unthinkable. They actually pulled off a decent tifo. Fair play, guys, but the real statement came shortly after, as the Gunners then comprehensively dismantled Spurs. Who else but Eze, the man who appeared destined to sign for the Europa League champions before a dramatic hijacking from Arsenal, and in his first North London derby, he stole the show with a stellar hat-trick. The first player to ever do so in this specific Premier League fixture. It all worked out for the 27-year-old, but he was just one stellar performer today. Trossard was outstanding, as was Declan Rice. They were missing several key players today, but what makes Arsenal so strong is their ridiculous squad depth. We've previously seen Mascara slot in well in Saliba's absence, and now without their set-piece weapon Gabriel, fellow South American defender Piero Hincapié stepped up big time. No striker, no problem either. This squad is diabolically good in every single department. Spurs, on the other hand, wow, they are a tough watch. Unless they're playing Man City, this club seems allergic to big games. 0.1 XG against Chelsea, and now 0.07 v Arsenal. Bar Richarlison's stunning lob, they offered nothing. Sure, it's still relatively early days in Frank's tenure, but the Spurs fan base are becoming increasingly frustrated by the lack of ambition in their approach. They were low-key sold a dream following that Super Cup game v PSG, but ever since, it's been more or less uninspiring, which brings me to another underwhelming Premier League club. Liverpool battered 3-0 on their own turf to Forest. They're now trailing United on goal difference. I think at this point, the blame has to be geared solely towards Slot, because it's not as if Salah alone is underperforming. Defensively, they're a car crash. In midfield, there's zero control, and going forward, they're toothless. It's a mess wherever you look. The big money signings have been abysmal. Even the less expensive signing, Kirkes, has really struggled. Everyone's being slandered, although I don't think it's the case of these guys simply forgetting how to play football overnight. The manager has to take responsibility for this. They were 5 from 5 in the league to start the season. They're now 6 from 12. I think there's only one man who can save them in Big Ange. Elsewhere, Chelsea got it done on the road to Burnley. Andre Santos channeling his inner Caicedo. Neto's actually starting to show some end product. It wasn't a convincing display, but hey, 3 points, 0 red cards, up to second place. Can't really complain now. We also saw City drop points away at Newcastle, but this match would be marred by controversy. Shah's tackle on Foden appeared a pretty clear pen and wasn't given, but it's the semi-automated technology that has come under fire. As Barnes made it 2-1 to Newcastle, the VAR ruling didn't make a whole lot of sense. The decision itself took 5 minutes, which is unheard of for semi-automated rulings. The image they then displayed on screen had Diaz jumping when the in-game footage shows both feet grounded, and look at where the line is coming from. Diaz's upper arm, which contradicts the current IFAB laws of the game for offsides in the 25-26 season, which states the hands and arms of all players, including the goalkeepers, are not considered. For the purposes of determining offsides, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. So the AI image they've used is just plain wrong. I generally try to avoid hyper-focusing on refereeing decisions, but this feels a little different. Shifting gears to La Liga, and Barcelona have marked their return to the Camp Nou 909 days since their last game at the iconic venue way back in May 2023. 45,157 fans were in attendance in what was a special occasion for the Catalan club. 7 of their starting 11 were Catalan players. Fermín López marked his 100th appearance with a goal, 11 involvements in 12 games this season now, and their superstar Lamine Yamal in his first appearance at the Camp Camp Nou delivered 2 spectacular assists for Ferran Torres. First, a trademark Trivela before cooking 3 players and then delivering an inch-perfect pass for Ferran. A timely reminder that this guy is still him, with Barca prevailing 4-0. And to make the victory even sweeter, Nico Williams stinker and hooked. Meanwhile, title rivals Real Madrid will be bitterly disappointed to have dropped points away at newly promoted Elche. Truth be told though, this was a pretty fair result. The unfavored home side were very competitive, taking the lead on 2 occasions. One could argue Madrid's second equalizer shouldn't have stood, but regardless, another setback for Alonso's side. The lack of balance and chemistry of this team continues to be an issue. Defensively, they're so shaky without Militao in the side, and Vini Jr. once again on the bench. Atletico Madrid have now won 5 on the bounce to rise into 4th place. Meanwhile, Villarreal go 3rd following a 2-1 win at home to Mallorca. Do yourselves a favor and watch Tani Oliawasi's match-winning goal, a filthy back heel from close range. I still firmly believe that this is a 2-horse race for the La Liga title, but only time will tell. Moving to Germany, and Michael Olise take a bow. This man quite possibly delivered the best individual display of 2025, scoring twice, one of which was a magical curler, having also delivered a further 3 assists as Bayern hit Freiburg for 6. Focusing on the Frenchman, and Mr. Nonchalant himself has elevated Bayern's attack ever since he arrived. It doesn't get talked about enough, but last season he was incredible. He delivered over 40 goal contributions. That is elite for a winger, and his output this season has been even better. Now, until he really steps up in the latter stages of the UCL or at the national team level, he probably won't have that global prestige, but he's hitting numbers that Prime Robin and Ribéry would be proud of. Considering he's only 23, Bayern have a lot to be excited about, but all the while, Academy graduate Lennart Karl is also on an emphatic rise. A UCL debut screamer followed by another worldie in the Bundesliga, then he popped off on his Germany U21 debut, and now back at Bayern, he's balling out once again, becoming the youngest player to ever score and assist in the Bundesliga. Age-defying confidence on display from the teen, just like Hassan Ouedraogo, who recently scored in his Germany debut and has backed that up a week later with an absolute worldie of a strike for Leipzig on his weaker left foot. FM players, if you know, you know, this guy could be the future of Germany's midfield. Tall, athletic, skillful, seemingly two-footed. Do not sleep on this guy. We also witnessed a thriller at the Signal Iduna Park as Dennis Undav bagged a hat-trick for Stuttgart as Dortmund dropped more points, 9 adrift now of first-placed Bayern. Now heading to Europe's most competitive league, and the Derby della Madonnina didn't disappoint. Captain America with the decisive goal from close range, Pulisic's 5th of the season, but it was Milan's actual captain, Mike Maignan, who was the hero once again, with several massive saves, including a penalty stop to preserve the clean sheet, and sees Allegri's Milan rise into 2nd place, with Conte's Napoli also level on points following a 3-1 win at home to Atalanta, and in 1st place, surprisingly, is Gasperini's Roma. A big result away at Cremonese, Evan Ferguson scoring his 1st league goal for the club. This league is so unpredictable. This time next week, we'll probably have a new league leader. Moving to French football, and Paul Pogba, after more than 2 years away from competitive football, finally stepped back onto the pitch, this time for a new club, AS Monaco, with the Frenchman receiving a standing ovation from the Stade Rennais crowd upon his return. His high-profile absence stemmed from a positive test for the banned substance DHEA, led to an initial 4-year ban that was later reduced to 18 months following an appeal. Pogba has maintained he never knowingly took this substance, but now finally back onto the pitch, the 32-year-old is thankful and looking forward, saying, "I'm relieved to be back playing football, the thing I love most in the world." Now, do I see him returning to the national team fold anytime soon? I personally doubt it. He's always struggled to stay healthy, but who knows? Maybe this long-term absence could be a blessing in disguise for the injury-plagued 32-year-old. And to close out the show, we got to quickly touch on the GOATs who continue to light up the pitch in their respective leagues. CR7 with a spectacular bicycle kick this weekend. How is this man pulling off such acrobatic efforts at 40 years of age, let alone in the 95th minute of a game? Freakish stuff. That's goal number 954 for the Portuguese legend as Al Nassr go 9 from 9 this season in the league. This could be the year Ronaldo breaks his 8-season league title drought. He's yet to win a proper trophy in Saudi Arabia too, so the motivation is clearly there. But in peak Messi fashion, he just had to steal the headlines shortly after, scoring the opener in the MLS Eastern Conference semi-final before delivering a further hat-trick of assists. The GOAT's continuing to do GOAT things. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning into DMAC Daily. Had to go off the grid for a bit to refresh and get some much needed rest, because in the next 6 months or so, we're going to be going all out producing content. And then after that, it's World Cup time. So exciting times ahead, and I'll see you tomorrow.